Welcome in, everybody, to another
My
post-game
goodness.
history reaction. And the Baltimore Ravens have done it again. Glenn, let me say off the jump, you're absolutely right. I'm done. I'm done predicting blowouts. I'm done with it. I will never do it again. It's the stupidest thing. I'm looking at our pregame notes. I'm never picking a spread bigger than like 5 ever again. It's pointless.
Don't do it because these are the heartbreak kids. I mean, it's unbelievable. The first quarter could not have gone worse. I mean, it seemed like the Ravens couldn't keep a drive together. Were kind of stumbling and bumbling their way to midfield, but stalling. And then opposite goes for the Vikings. It seemed like every time they snapped the ball, whether it was a run or a pass, they were finding success. And man, I mean, what a roller coaster again. Another game where Kirk Cousins starts the game. He's 100% passing the football, and then he ends the game relatively pedestrian completion percentage.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the money's on the line, you don't want Kirk Cousins under center. That is for sure and well established, right? I mean, I think that's fair to say.
I mean, I tell you what, he looked a hell of a lot better in the first quarter than he did the rest of the game.
Yeah, and to be expected. But let's review from the top down. Let's talk about that first half, the highs and lows, good and bad. Talk about some stats, everything else. But yeah, where you want to start in that first quarter? Like you said, I mean, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, it was scary because it was another sighting of those big plays. I mean, the defense gave up another few big plays. First, you have the Jefferson touchdown where it looked to me, again, we don't know the play call. We don't know all the details, but it looked like Chuck Clark blew an assignment and allowed Jefferson to get behind him for the wide open 50-yard touchdown.
At the very least, it was clear that there was miscommunication.
Somebody was supposed to be back there.
Right,
for sure.
Exactly. Whether Marlon was going to keep going or, he was expecting Chuck to pick him up, whatever the case may be, absolutely clear breakdown in coverage.
Yeah, so I mean, I was getting a little nervous, and then once again, slow start for the Ravens. I mean, they really get aided by a bad call on the refs where they called a horse collar takedown on Lamar on 4th down at the midfield, and it ends up being, as the replay showed, a poor call. He was grabbed at or below the nameplate, which is not a horse collar penalty. Kind of bailed out there, which gets them the field goal. But other than that, really a struggle the entire first half till that final play, which again, another penalty gets them down there with the Bateman pass interference, where I'm not a big fan of that call. I mean, I get that it's a penalty by the letter of the law, but I don't like rewarding the offense for an underthrown ball and by giving them all those yards. But it was for the Ravens, so I will take it.
And the only thing I got to say about that is, like, and this might be easier said than done. I feel like some guys are just born knowing how to do it, and other guys just never learn. Dude, just get your head around, right? And then that whole scenario changes at least a bit and makes it a little bit more difficult for the ref to call it if he's in pursuit of the ball in some way, shape, or fashion. But based on the fact that he didn't, made that call clear. But I understand your point. But however, like you said, if it's to the Ravens, I'm happy about it. Yeah, take it all day for sure. So, yeah, I was nervous about, after the first half, if you follow us on Twitter and you were looking at our tweets, and I know DK was, I was really going through it. I mean, I was going through it really bad. In fact, if you want a good laugh, go back and read the tweets, because I think I tweeted halfway through the second half, I said, I might have to come with the realization that this Ravens team is just not that good, because it was looking pretty bad. I mean, my goodness. Did you take anything good away from the first quarter?
No, not from the first quarter. I mean, how could you? It was hard to watch. Billy Seal says Brandon Steven needs a role. Josh Bynes is a hero. I'm not sure exactly what he means. Does he mean? I'm not sure what he means about Brandon Stevens. I know he came in when Elliott went down.
He needs more of a role as far as
ROLE, I guess is what he means.
Yeah.
But you know what? Brandon Stevens is still frustrating. And I get he's young. He's got growing pains. But, man, he takes some poor angles sometimes to the ball carrier.
Oh, you must have. Yes, you read my mind. That's exactly what I tweeted. It was funny. Somebody responded back to me, and they said, and he can't tackle. And I said, well, that's kind of a given. That's the reason. Like, he's missing the tackle because his angles are absolutely poor. He must have slept every day of geometry in high school or middle school whenever he took it, because certainly He cannot figure out angles. And it's interesting to me because I think that, while he's new as a defensive back, I feel like as a running back, you get pretty good at that too.
Oh,
So,
yeah, of
I
course.
understand it's the other side of the coin and you're closing, but at the same time, there's certainly some translatable skills there. And right now, that is not showing off for him. So, yeah, quite a conundrum with him and certainly going through some growing pains.
But I still I like more than I dislike when
yes,
I watch Brandon
I'll agree
Stevens.
with you there. Certainly there's more to like than there is to dislike. But man, if he can just do, especially at that position where he's a safety,
line.
right, then, you got to stop those huge plays from turning into home runs, right?
Yeah, and then and Sick Kicks is always global. Says, thanks, Jags and Giants. After the Titans lose tonight to the Rams, I'll be at the game. California Raven fan here. Will be number one in the AFC again. You know what? We did a show about, do the Ravens have the easiest, or should they be the favorite to get the number one seed? And right now, I mean, you talk about laying an egg. Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, we saw a lot of favorites, to win their conferences go down to poor teams in embarrassing fashion. I mean, I'm not sure how that game ended up. I'll have to look it up. But
which game?
Did the Bills get off 6 points or did they stay at 6?
9-6. They lost.
I mean, you lose to a Jaguars team who, by the way, lost Trevor Lawrence in the middle of that game, and you still lose to the Jaguars?
Yeah, that's a problem.
They came into that game, Jimmy, with the number one scoring offense and number one scoring defense in all football.
Yeah. And it's so misleading to me. That's why I'm not a huge believer in the Bills right now because their schedule is so soft. I don't think they'll be really battle tested. Obviously, they lost to the Titans and they beat a team in the Chiefs that I don't know. While I'm riding the credit of the Ravens beating the Chiefs as well, the Chiefs struggled to beat the Giants.
Yeah, they should have lost the
Giants. Yeah, they got saved at the end of that game.
Yep.
So somebody asked what our Twitter is. It's in my name right here. It's at 410_sports talk. It's our Twitter.
Yeah, if you want to see a person go through an emotional roller coaster throughout the game, just follow our Twitter timeline because you'll see Jimmy going through it.
So bad, Glenn. This was probably the worst of all because I happen to be tweeting my feelings more than I normally like my feelings instead of an analysis. And man, it was really, really rough. So we go into the second quarter. Let's give some commentary on that. What do we got, Glenn?
Well, I mean, it was a lot more of the same to me. I mean, the offense still struggling to get anything going. Lamar was off in the first half in a big way. Now, look, he threw an absolute dime to Mark Andrews that he dropped in the end zone. An absolute dime.
Uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah, this year especially, Mark Andrews has been the best tight end in all of football, and it hasn't been that close. So, yeah, uncharacteristic by him to drop that ball, which was an absolute gem.
Bread basket, man.
Yeah, but other than that, Lamar struggled in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt he overthrew a couple of guys. I mean, it was a tough first half for Lamar, and really that first half kind of stretched into the third quarter. Joshua Hunter said, how close is Hollywood to being a number one receiver? Is already there. I'm so glad he brought this up because
I can't wait.
Where would this offense be without Hollywood Brown? That guy was so big in every big moment. Lamar was looking for number 5, and he delivered all afternoon.
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this. Thanks for bringing this up, Josh, because of course we were going to get there, but either way, I'm glad we're here talking about it because Hollywood Brown is a number one wide receiver in the NFL. Whether it's the Ravens or another team, he has made the requisite progression as an NFL wide receiver to me to be considered a number one and one heck of a good one. This guy's making the Pro Bowl this year. If you look at the projections of his stats, they're ridiculous.
Yep.
And as my green screen falls. But aside from that, one of the things that I loved about the game today, one of the things I loved about the game today with Marquise Brown's game is the way that he attacked the football, the way he was putting his foot in the ground and coming back towards the football. No one else was beating him to that ball when the ball was in the air. He wasn't waiting for it. He wasn't basket catching it. That was always my only problem with Jacoby Jones. He would basket catch everything. I mean, obviously he's more a special teams guy, but my point is that Hollywood put his foot in the ground. I can't remember which play it was. There was 3 of them that I can think of, but one in particular was 2 defenders around him and he just beat him to the ball. Excellent route running, physical, aggressive, fast, decisive. Everything you want to say about a number one.
And more yak than continues to impress
that
with
aggression. I mean,
I
the
mean,
aggression is there, right?
what we've been waiting for is, like most running backs, if they see two defenders kind of corralling you in, you want to see them split the defenders and try and get as many yards as you can before they pull you down. And we're finally seeing that from Hollywood. And he's so damn quick that he ends up getting an extra 4 yards most times just by doing that. I mean, just
Yep.
by splitting the guys and falling forward. So
Yep.
Marquise Brown, like you said, I mean, you said it all. He came back for the ball in big moment. There was a play where they showed the behind the quarterback view, and he wasn't that open when the ball was released, but he attacked the ball, and then he turned upfield and turned a 10-yard gain into a 20-yard gain and got him in field goal range before the penalties that had me just fired up, Jimbo, about these damn penalties,
You, me,
man.
and John both, man. But certainly Hollywood showed out today. He lived up to the nickname. Robert Higgins says, "I'll take the win, but my gosh, terrible first half.
Yeah.
And can we kick all kickoffs out of play, please?" Well, I mean, that's fine with me as well. But yes, terrible first half. There's really no way to say it. And I think you're looking at the same screen here, Glenn, but this is really interesting. So the drives for the Ravens in the first half breakdown is a field goal, punt, interception, touchdown right before the half. But that is not customary. That's not customary of the Baltimore Ravens or the sign of a good first half. I mean, it was terrible. And speaking of the first half, wasn't it in the first half when Pat Ricard scored? Was that the first or was that coming out the second?
I think that was in the third quarter.
Okay. Well, I want to jump ahead to that real quick.
Project Pat.
Yeah, because look, I'm going to give some people a little bit of flack right now. Okay. DK, I know you saw my tweet because a lot of people, no names will be named, thought that Ben Mason could be some sort of a version of Patrick Ricard. Well, look, that ship has sailed. That thought is dead and gone. Put it in the ground because Patrick Ricard was being disrespected by the Baltimore Ravens and his unique ability to be ridiculously large, ridiculously fleet of foot, and ridiculously coordinated. Did you see the one hand catch and scoop it in? And then the feet up in the air, he's churning and churning and churning. Man, this guy, I loved his game today. It was awesome, right?
I mean, he carried that drive. He was the reason they scored. I mean, the defensive backs were terrified when they saw Ricard with the ball in his hands, looking to just wreck people. I mean, shout out to Pat Ricard. But I want to touch on, what the last commenter. Let me just
All right.
Give him a credit. Robert Wiggins, when he says kick the ball out of bounds.
Yeah.
Did you happen to notice Miles Boykin on that play, who was coming untouched from the right side of the field, give the poorest attempt at a tackle that I've seen in quite some time? He came in. The only reason this guy is active is to block and play special teams, and this clown gave a horrendous effort. He came in hands out, doesn't even touch the guy. Pathetic effort. The guy squeezes through, and we know the rest is history from there. Miles Boykin, why are you active? If you're not going all out on every precious snap you have, including special teams, then sit on the damn bench. Go away. I mean, I don't get how this guy continues to get clocked. I don't understand it. He disappoints me every time I see him.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And then the other thing from a larger picture, maybe we'll talk about this during the week, is that the topography of this team's breakdown is going to change, going to have to, because 12 players, if I'm not mistaken, at this point in this game are either running backs or wide receivers out of 53 or, whatever dress, something like that. 12, I think, if my math is right. So the point being, it can't be that way. I mean, you know what I mean? You can't have that many guys dedicated to that. So certainly that is going to change. The distribution of the football will change as well. I want to make sure before we move on, I want to get Stardust here. Hollywood, wide receiver 1, give it to your boy Ricard. That's right. Both things are true. I mean, we've been talking about it, Glenn, and I'm happy to revisit it because is this Hollywood's best game of the season so far?
I mean, it's the game where he looked the best. I mean, statistically, we might be able to find a game where he had a more productive game.
Because, he didn't zone this game.
Right. He didn't get in the end zone, but impressive, man. I mean, just flat out impressive. He made so many big plays. Every time it seemed like the Ravens just were sputtering and failing to move the chains and shooting themselves in the foot with stupid penalties. And I tell you what, the refs were horrible, but they were horrible in both directions. I'm not saying the refs
Yeah.
were good and picking against the Ravens. No, they were bad both ways. They stunk up the joint out there. They made horrible call after horrible call in big moment. The missed false start, Jimbo, at the goal
Dude.
line when every Ravens player is screaming, John Harbaugh's screaming, the left guard flinches. It's quite obvious to everyone. And instead of calling up, they call it an offsides on the Ravens, which of course is declined because they sneak it in. I mean, they were bad. They're bad on that horse collar call, I think, was bad. They were bad in a lot of ways, but luckily not bad enough to cost the Ravens the win.
Yeah, my goodness. That was a really that was a frustrating one, certainly, as far as the referees go. I agree with you. Just a bad performance overall. When will we come to our senses and make things like that reviewable? Like, is it that difficult? Is
You
it that
think that there would
difficult?
be a guy up, and you don't even need
Right,
to
guy in
walk
the
to the
sky.
headset and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
no.
Nah.
It's 2021.
Yes.
We technology works. Let's
Yep.
utilize it and stop using note cards and eyeballs for every single pivotal play in the game.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I don't need to have the 65-year-old man run across the entire field, look at a tablet underneath some hood and put his headphones on. No, why? We could have a guy who's dedicated to just doing that. We can have a central figure. It doesn't even have to be a guy in the building. You know what I mean? It could be, it's just ridiculous. I don't like it whatsoever. Now, Jimmy, we got to talk about this offensive line because, I mean,
Yep.
it's puzzling to me. I don't understand the peaks and valleys with this team. First of all, is it safe to say that if Ben Powers he's only playing because they absolutely have no one else? Because that guy is an absolute turnstile.
Yes. He was getting worked every which way in the situations where he was, pushing off and going backwards. He was getting beat. In the situations where he was being aggressive and moving forwards, he was getting beat. I mean, it was quite embarrassing for one Ben Powers. Certainly, I cannot wait till we get Ben Cleveland back and he's healthy and we have some sort of replacement there. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Cleveland, and you know what I found also kind of interesting, a little bit of a side note. They have a guard also at the last name Cleveland. By the last name Cleveland. I mean, hold on. There's two guys playing guard in the NFL with that last name. I mean, that just blew my mind.
But it might be Cousins.
That's true. It could. The genes could be running through both these guys, and that's why they're huge. But yeah, I mean, the offensive line was so bad in the first half. So bad. I mean, Lamar Jackson was running for his life. It was absolutely embarrassing. But then in the second half, I look at these they started to get a real push. They started knocking guys off the ball, reestablishing a deep line of scrimmage. And Devonta Freeman and Lev Bell had excellent second halves. I mean, excellent second halves to go along with, of course, Lamar Jackson once again going over 100.
Now, let me ask you this. This is something that I heard I'd never heard this before, but I did hear from the announcers. You don't get too much valuable information from these guys, but I'll give him credit on I like Mark Schlereth. I like him. And I'll say one thing that I think he said, that he talked to Greg Roman, and he said that Greg doesn't even script the first 15 plays anymore because the defense defends the Ravens because of Lamar Jackson differently every single time. Do you think that has anything to do with the slow starts, right? Like there's something I just watched the Canelo Plant fight last night. Canelo absolutely planted Caleb Plant in the 11th round, but he gave up some rounds early because he's collecting data, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a little bit of that there that's going on that's causing these late starts, or are they just absolutely inexcusable? Obviously, we can't keep digging ourselves in a hole. So two-part question here. Do you think that's part of it? And how do we stop it from continuing, right? Because it's becoming an issue.
No doubt. I don't know what the problem is. How does this team go from the best first drive team in all of football just
great point.
2 years ago, and even last year they were pretty good, to just being horrendous in the first quarter? I don't understand it. And look, I know that in the earlier parts of the season he was scripting the first 15, which is what typically mostly every coordinator does. So he was unsuccessful scripting and now still unsuccessful not scripting. I don't know what has to change, but it's truly a head scratcher because you got the same coordinator, the same quarterback, the same head coach. And you'd think that, I mean, you could be able to have some success here and there, but they just always come out fluttering. I don't know if they have to change up their pregame routines. I don't know what it is, but something's got to change because you can't continuously put yourselves in a hole and then ask Lamar Jackson to dig you out of it.
Yeah.
Something's got to, but I just don't know. I don't know how you can fix this other than just say, well, we got to establish the run early, because the second half we had an established run game and we saw the difference in productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been trying to rack my brain over how we can fix this as well. And this is the only thing I can come up with. I understand the run game, but one of the things that continues also to be a frustration of mine is, and I love Lamar to death, but man, he seems we're really trying to be aggressive down the field, but maybe some early like slants, pitch and catch stuff, like somebody sitting in the zone. They were playing zone on us all day. How about we give some, like a 6-yarder, just a pitch and catch? Can we get 3 of those?
Yeah,
Like in the
just
first
get them in
quarter?
a rhythm.
You know what I'm something, right? Like that's the only thing that comes to my mind that could work. And
well, I mean, I tell you, on some of those short screens,
oh my gosh,
some horrible throws on some of those screen passes early on.
Let me ask you this, Glenn, and I tweeted this out. Why are we the worst in the NFL at defending the screen and the worst in the NFL in executing a screen? Like offensively and defensively, we suck at the screen.
But
game,
I will say this, and I said it when it happened in real time with my family and friends over. They had a successful screen. They threw a screen pass to Hollywood, and he ends up picking up a first down. Mark Andrews out in front, and I said that might be the first time in the history of this franchise that a screen passes went for a first down. I mean, it just doesn't happen here. You're 100% right, and I don't understand why. I mean, it's like you got the athletes. I think we got the talent to do it. I mean, maybe the offensive line, there's some questions there if those guys can move their feet and get out in front. But when they run those wide receiver screens, they got the talent, but somehow it's either an errant throw, it's either a bad, the receiver slips and falls, a missed block, tackle for loss. Something always seems to go wrong.
A part of me wonders, and you're right, this date's pre-Lamar. Part of me wonders, Lamar's like, coach, look, like I understand we got to run these plays, but he puts no effort, but like he doesn't put extra emphasis on practice in them because he doesn't like them. He's like, no, let's do these, these other things because I like this. The screen game he might feel is like a sellout or a bailout or something like that. Lamar obviously loves pushing the ball down the field. Mm-hmm. So anyway, part of me wonders that, but let's get to Tim. Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Hey, Tim Ott says, do you think Freeman and Bell will be the 1A, 1B after today? I don't think so. I still don't think, and I can see why you would say that because they both had really pretty nice days on the ground today. But I still think they're hoping Latavius Murray can grab a hold of this job. And I don't really understand why. I mean, there was a couple drives where like they start the drive with back-to-back runs and they'd get a first down and then they go throw and punt the ball. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just a head scratcher. I get that teams are loading the box. I get that. But if you're having success on the ground, if you run first down, you run for 9 yards, second down, you run for 3, and then you come out pass, sack, and you end up punting it, it makes you wonder, like, are we not having success because we don't have the ability or because we're not given enough opportunity to get the ground game going? I mean, you're going to have some negative runs. You're going to have some runs that go for nothing, but it doesn't mean you abandon it. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a head scratcher.
Look, at the end of the day, the run game is like a successful partnership, right? Like not every day is going to be a storybook romantic situation, right? Like not every play is going to be a home run perfect play.
Yep.
But if you're committed to it, those plays come along and those days come along and they're worth their weight in gold. Like you can't just say, you know what, the past 3 plays, not too much of a storybook ending for us, right? Like let's just ditch it. All right. No, right? Like we need to stay committed to it. So to answer his question, I tweeted and then I retweeted myself because I am beating the drum on the fact that Devontae Freeman is the most explosive back that we have, and I don't think it's close. I think he had a few plays where he was, and Le'Veon looked good late in the game, but I'm talking about explosion and open field ability and I think that Devontae Freeman should be our RB1. I understand what you're saying about Latavius Murray, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets into this mix, but I think he will affect Bell's carries more than Freeman's.
I agree with you there.
Yeah. So I think Freeman has gotten better every week. Every opportunity, I guess I should say, not necessarily every week, but every time he's gotten more and more time on the field, he's looked better and better. You got
because he definitely struggled when he first got here, but he's gotten better. Tone the Virgo says, my reaction to that Jefferson touchdown, here we go again, another long afternoon with an LSU guy. And yeah, I was nervous too. I mean, but
did you see Marlowe's reaction when you looked up at the board and he was like
again? Like, come on. He did not want a flashback of what happened in the Bengals game. But I'll say this about the defense. As bad as they looked in the first half, they looked that good in the second. I mean, yeah, they gave up the late touchdown to tie the game. And they've had some moments where it was like to me, that was a horrible decision by Chris Board, that penalty on fourth down. That was just, I don't understand it. I mean, first of all, it was like a giveaway throw. He wraps his arm. I don't know why he wraps his arm around him. I don't understand why he does that. He gives him new life, and when it would have been a fourth down stop, and I know that was early, but it led to a touchdown. I mean, I feel like they would have had a much better game had the penalties not been kind of their Achilles heel.
But where were you on that penalty?
I thought it was a penalty. He had his left arm wrapped around him.
That was a penalty. Now, what about the Thielen play? I'm just curious to know where your thoughts are because I thought Thielen was offensive.
I thought Thielen pushed off.
Because to me, like I even tweeted at Kadri and he said they'll never call that because it wasn't enough of a push. I'm tired of my arms aren't 100% extended, therefore it's not offensive pass interference. If the only way you are getting open as a wide receiver is by pushing, like in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that is offensive pass interference. Like, what else is there to me? I don't care if you straighten your arm, if it's 90 degrees.
They had a bad day. They had a bad day. But to me, Chris Board deserved that call. I thought it was a stupid call. I mean, a stupid play. He's got his arm wrapped around him. He's holding his left arm down, basically by the bicep. He didn't need to do that, is my point. The play was not going to be completed. It was kind of like a give up, throw it out. I don't really think that when Cousins released that ball, he thought it was going to be completed. So I just thought it was a silly play by Chris Board. Disappointing play because, of course, it led to a touchdown. Would have been 0 on the board. Instead, they get 7. But more importantly, what I want to talk about is the second half. That defense was absolutely sensational. Can we just have another moment to shout out Josh Bynes and what this guy has done for this defense? Dude. I mean, how many textbook square up, get the guy on the ground tackles did we see out of Josh Bynes today?
Yeah, man. The play that comes to mind, and there's lots of them, but that even though I think that same drive ended up in a touchdown because of that penalty you're referring to, that play he made on Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Actually, he just floated, stayed patient, bam, wrapped him up. Saw his opportunity, took full advantage of it, and wrapped him up. And that might be something that hopefully Patrick Queen can learn. I think one of the things that's really important is Patrick Queen overshoots and he commits too early. You got to float sometimes and wait for the mush of people to clear up. Keep your eyes on the guy and then take advantage of your opportunity. That's certainly, you're absolutely right. Josh Bynes, man, you're an old player when your helmet looks different than everyone else's. Take a look at Josh Bynes' helmet. It's literally like a 12-year-old version, like a model. It is different. It's just a different helmet. No, I don't see anyone else wear that old helmet except Josh Bynes because everyone else is like, you know what? I'm going to get a little more protection. And he's over there like, you sissies. You know what I mean?
Hey, he's been around a long time. I can see it. But Tone the Virgo says another home game Thursday, the Florida Ravens. Absolutely. I fully expect the Ravens flock to be in full
Now, are you going
force.
to give me a hard time if I predict a blowout in the Thursday game?
Yeah, because the Dolphins, did they not just win today? I think they won with a backup quarterback. I'm not entirely sure because I don't have the scoreboard in front of me.
Yeah.
But I expect the Ravens to win that game. But look, I'm not picking the Ravens to blow out nobody because they're the heartbreak kids this year. It makes absolutely no sense. But look, before I get too crazy, I want to quickly, unless you have someone. You got something, Jimbo?
No, go. I want to get into our winnings today. Not our competition, but our dollars.
Well, let's get into it then.
Yeah, of course. You guys know this show is made possible today by our buddies over at Symbol. They're awesome. If you want to actually make money with your knowledge in sports, check out Symbol. They're the stock market of sports. You've heard us talk about it. Mm-hmm. Stock market of sports. You buy low, you sell high, but while you hold on to your teams, you get weekly winnings, Glenn. So cha-ching, cha-ching, we get winnings per share today for the Baltimore Ravens. So put us in the books for a win on the Ravens. Now, our other teams didn't do so well because we bought the boys. we bought the Bungles, and we bought the Raiders.
Yeah, we might want to get rid of these Bungles, man.
And just go all in on the Ravens. But look, at the end of the day, this is the great thing about it, Glenn. We didn't lose any money. We only made money today because we got our payout, hits you immediately. I made a cool couple bucks personally on my personal account based on the fact that I'm just all in on the Ravens. I literally don't have anything else.
I love that you're riding and dying with your squad.
That's right. So make sure you guys go check it out. You win money every single week as the teams you have shares in win as well. So go check it out. Use the promo code 410. You'll get $10 to your first, up to your first deposit, whatever it might be. You'll get an automatic $10 from Symbol because we work with them. They're awesome. Make sure to go check it out and have some fun with it. Also, before we move on, let us know how your portfolio is looking. It's really fun. I'm getting quickly obsessed with it. So make sure you guys go check it out. But Glenn, what were you gonna mention there?
Well, I was going to mention the stats. I just wanted to quickly go over each individual.
So
we'll start with the quarterbacks, and we'll do both of them. Kirk Cousins, the loser of the day, goes 17 of 28, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and was not sacked even once. Kind of a surprise there considering the shuffling and changing across their offensive line, and the Ravens coming off a bye week. Would have liked to see a little more in the pass rush. And then on the other side, Lamar Jackson ends up 27 of 41 for 266, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and was sacked 3 times. Jimbo, I want to talk about him for a second and the interceptions. I mean, I think the first one, first of all, impressive play by the young safety taking over after a late scratch on Harrison Smith. Their stud safety goes on the COVID list at the last possible moment, and the rookie showed up in a big, big way, has a huge interception. Kind of a head-scratching throw there. Not sure what Lamar saw because I'm pretty sure if the guy who picks it doesn't do it, then the guy behind him picks it. Either way, I doubt it was ever had a shot to get through to Mark Andrews. And then the second interception, to me, I felt like Freeman should have cut the guy a little bit quicker. Obviously, his job was to get the guy on the ground. He hesitates for a second, allows Barr to make a fantastic play. Really the only play I saw from Barr all game. But, Jimmy, what'd you think about the picks? Was it just kind of what were your thoughts?
Yeah. Overall, my theme this year towards Lamar Jackson is he's mastered the intermediate stuff. His passing skills have gotten better. He's certainly sharper. His spiral is tighter. Lamar has improved as a passer. I don't hear anything about outside the numbers and blah, blah, which is stuff that we never bought into anyway. But Lamar Jackson has proven what we thought and what we concluded in that he's an improved passer. This is what I will say that needs to come along is Tom Brady is the king of the dink and dunk and taking what the defense gives you. And every single defense, whether it's a man, whether it's a zone, whether it's whatever, even in Wink's defense, every single one, there are weaknesses in it, right? Like there's no perfect defense. There's no silver bullet. And so let's figure out what those things are and add a little bit of uneventfulness to our passing plays. So Lamar, maybe get rid of it a little earlier and take the easy pass. So really quickly, quick diatribe here. As a kid, grow up playing point guard, I said this before, you want the play to work in one play. But sometimes the hockey assist is the most important pass, right? Like the pass before the assist. And so Lamar, and that's the easy one, but that's the most important one. Lamar needs to do the easy stuff, right? I feel like sometimes it just gets to him and he wants to hit a home run every play. So the reason I'm saying that is because I think if those things happen, at least something like the first interception, those occurrences will start to go down. The second one, great play by Barr, obviously a mistake by Devontae. And Lamar tried everything he could to that thing, man. But
I thought the Ravens were going to lose with that one, man.
Me too.
I mean, the Vikings need only 20, 25 yards to get in field goal range. Shout out to the defense stepping up.
Yeah, she was like, "Why are we even watching this?" I'm like, "No, I have to. I have to watch this." Like, you can't.
And then immediate joy. And by the way, shout out to Wink in overtime on that huge third down after they get the interception. Wink puts Marlon Humphrey on their tight end Conklin, who most people have never heard of. And he comes up with the big play, knocks the ball out.
Big play.
Yeah, so shout out to Marlon. Shout out to Wink for putting him in position. Tim says, is it me or is Bateman just disappearing in the fourth when he plays? Is there a pitch count?
Well, let's get to that in 1 second, but I want to know your thoughts on the interception really quickly before we get to Tim Ott.
On which interception?
On the interceptions by Lamar, how it's kind of,
I mean, I thought that he kind of just got he just kind of laser beamed Mark Andrews on that play, and it was just a poor decision and a great play by them. The interception, Anthony Barr. I mean, sometimes you got to give credit to the defender, and I
Sure.
think Anthony Barr made a fantastic play. Of course, I'd
Yeah.
like to see Lamar put a little more air under the ball, and I'd like to see Freeman cut the guy like he's supposed to instead of hesitating. But overall, the quarterback is responsible for securing and keeping the ball safe. So Lamar gets knocked for both of those. He deserves blame on both of those. And he's got to be more careful with the ball. This team does not it's not going to be a good day typically if this team loses the turnover battle. Now, they were able to overcome it today. But I think we can all agree it wasn't easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and what do you think about my theory in that, like, just take a little bit of the easier stuff and maybe not
It's
try and cover
hard.
so much green every single time, right?
Yeah, it's hard as these young guys. I mean, they just want to make plays, man. That's why, it's just like earlier in the game when Lamar Jackson had a scramble where he barely gets away from the guys and he's got an opportunity to run out of bounds for a 4-yard gain, but he tries to cut back in.
Oh
And
yeah.
at the end of the play, he's buried under a pile of Vikings. And it's just
And
like,
everyone's just cringing, right?
yeah, and
Like,
you're like, man, just go out of bounds. But at the same time, you get it. It's like at that point, we needed something that could happen. And he was
Yeah.
just trying to make something happen. But
yeah.
again, you got to be more careful with the ball. You just have to be. But do you see anything into Tim's point here? I mean, Bateman had another good game. He had a fantastic catch, one-handed catch, ends up with 5 catches for 52 yards on 8 targets, but did have a bit of a disappearing act. Seemed like Lamar had only eyes for Hollywood in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah, so, but let me ask this. I understand Tim's point, but wasn't that one-handed catch in the fourth quarter?
It might have been, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was in a crucial moment, if not overtime. But I think it was in the fourth quarter. If one of the two, I'm certain it was. And so I understand his point, but overall, look, this is his third game?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the guy's progressing well. I think he's looking like he's the truth. And so
I don't think his worry is that he's not playing well. I think his worry is that he's being.
Is there a pitch count?
There's a pitch count. Yeah, he's being put on the bench.
And there might be, and that I think that's okay. I would rather them do that with him and be cautious than throw caution to the wind and end up with a more serious injury. Let's remember he had surgery and then ended up on the list this week. Didn't miss the game, but for the same area. So remnants of Ronnie Stanley start to come to your mind, right? And things like that. So I don't know if he's exactly on a pitch count. I would say that he probably is.
Yeah. I mean, he did, guys got to remember he had a groin injury that kept him out of Friday's practice. So who knows? I mean, maybe he felt something or maybe it was just a pitch count and just making sure he comes out of it clean, knowing that they're playing on Thursday and it's a short turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another great point. And that might be, I kind of want to talk about this. Weren't we expecting like Boyle and Watkins and Wolf all to come back?
Yeah, what happened? No one came back. Did anyone?
No one. Who else am I missing? Boyle, Watkins, Wolf. Who's the four? Oh, Macari obviously didn't come back. But those 3 alone, do you think that because they knew they had the short week, they said, look, let's just get to this game and then have you guys come out on. You know what I mean?
That's the only thing I can think of is just give them an extra little bit and let them rest up. Then they can play in the Thursday game and then have a mini bye until their following game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the only thing I can think of. But back to the stats, I want to give a couple other. Let's get to the rushing numbers. Dalvin Cook leads the way from Minnesota with 17 carries for 110 yards. But let's be honest, the vast majority of those yards came on that 66-yard run. Another big play surrendered by this defense. Luckily enough, it was early, and it didn't, it didn't ultimately cost them the game. But Dalvin Cook definitely had his moments, but the defense showed up big in the second half and really slowed him down and made them more one-dimensional than I think they wanted to be. Oh, you muted yourself.
Oh, jeez. This is my question to the both of you. DK, I know you're back there listening.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys miss Brandon Williams today a little bit? Did you find yourself saying, dang, you know what? On some of these runs, it'd have been nice to have big old 98 in there doing a little bit more than Broderick Washington.
I guess so, but I mean, look at it this way. And you can't take plays away, and I get that. But if you take away that 66-yard play, they went 23 carries for like 50-some yards.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was really, again, a story of if they just get a guy on the ground when they get their hands on him, then this game is a totally different story. So they had one poor play on the ground, really. That's all it amounted to was one play. Then, of course, they had the little jet sweep to Justin Jefferson for 11. But I mean, it wasn't anything crazy on the ground today outside of that 66-yard run. So I'm not. I mean, I guess. Do you feel like we missed him?
Yeah, that's a good point. Metabike did. He did get nicked up, and he had a few nice plays early on, and seemed to be a little hurt. But dang it,
You don't miss him, and you didn't.
I'm trying hard. I'm trying hard to miss him.
Yeah,
And
but you
I
didn't.
feel like things would have been different if he were there.
In what way? They wouldn't have given up that one long run because that's all they gave up all day was one bad run.
Yeah.
I mean,
I missed him a little bit.
Okay.
Say what you want, but I missed him a little bit.
Right.
Maybe in the pass rush. Maybe he takes some more guys up on the inside.
Stop it.
Not his own pass rush, but maybe helping the guys around him. Obviously not his pass rush. We aren't talking about Michael Pierce now.
Okay.
We aren't talking about Michael Pierce. But yeah, so anyway, if you were getting to stats, I don't want to keep
well, I mean, on the ground, Lamar does it again. 21 carries, 120 yards. Really.
Shout out to Lamar, tied the record.
Yeah, record most 100-yard games. I mean, another impressive outing for him.
And then Glenn, that's not applause worthy.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry about that. I was remiss. And then on the ground, the best day we've seen from Devonta Freeman as far as rushing numbers. Gets 13 carries, 79 yards. And Lev Bell, I think the same could be said for him. 11 carries, 48 yards. Both guys, their best showings. And hopefully this is a sign of things to come, because if Latavius Murray can't get right with that injury, then these two are going to be your 1 and 2 guys.
Yeah.
No matter, I think they ride the hot hand because both kind of have similar skill sets, and that they both shown, at least here. Well, I guess Lev Bell hasn't really shown here, but we know Lev Bell can catch and run routes.
Yeah.
Devonta Freeman's shown it here that he can catch and run routes.
Yeah.
So do you think this 1-2 punch isn't enough? Let's say Latavius has a setback and these are the two guys they got to count on. Are they good enough to get the Ravens where they need to be? I'm asking you the toughies.
I know. I think so if the offensive line continues to improve and play together. DK, can you check on this that's buzzing through our chats right now? Is Elliott indeed out for the year?
Yeah, that would be disappointing.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah, we were just torn pec and bicep for Elliott is what we're hearing.
Yep, he's done. Yeah, I just confirmed. Jeff Zrebick tweeted it out. God dang it. Another loss. Son of a gun.
I appreciate your self-editing there, Glenn. Live on air. I know that was a hard one.
Shout out to Doris on that one. Yeah, I mean that one hurt. I mean because now that Brandon Stevens, those tough growing pains plays we were talking about. We're gonna
have to see it firsthand.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot more of it.
The training wheels are off.
Damn, that's disappointing, man. I mean, and CJ, I like Stevens too, but there's moments where he really looks young out there, and we're gonna see some moments. And look, you can't deny that offensive coordinators, when they see Brandon Stevens, they make game plans around him, like accordingly, because they understand they're going to be able to show him things that he's never seen before. They're going to be able to confuse the rookie. And
DK, you got to do that, bro. You got to do that, DK.
Right in our faces with it.
Oh man, that is terrible. That's tough news for the Joker, because he's battled with injuries for a long time and has put together like a season and a half at this point where he's relatively healthy, just really getting to it, and looking forward to big things for him. He is very physically imposing, and plays an important role for our defense. So,
well, how big a loss is that? I mean, is that a loss that this defense is already?
Is it insurmountable?
Yeah, I mean, it's already an underperforming defense, and certainly the secondary is a big reason for that. As I wrestle my Charger into submission.
Yeah. I'll say that nothing. The only thing that is really insurmountable at this point is, and I don't even want to say it. You already know what it is.
Yeah, we know what that.
I'm not even gonna say it. But if it ain't that, then I'm done with leaning on injuries and telling the sob story. It sucks, but I'm over it. Not that I don't care about him, but like I'm over saying, man, all these guys are injured, because there's nothing we can do about it, man. Like, it sucks. Maybe if at the end of the season we lose, I'll be like, you know what? All our guys were injured. But until then.
Yeah, that'll be the excuse when the season's over, but we're not going to use it now. Billy Seal says, throw Stevens to the fire. Calm seas don't make good sailors. His coverage looks nice. Wow. Well
Dude,
said. That's like something you'd see on a wall of a high school like classroom.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to know if you have sailors in your family or something of that nature. Do you
Now, I
live
bet he
near the
lives
coast?
oh,
I know,
he's up in
the
Canada,
West
right?
Coast, I think in Canada, right? Like out on the western
Yeah.
portion of Canada.
Maybe he lives near a port
This
somewhere, and
sounds like
that's
something that grandpa said
you know
when
what it is? I
you were a
bet Billy
kid.
goes to a bar and there's like a sign on the bar wall that says that. And that's where he got it from. It's like when I was in high school, there was a sign that said never insult the crocodile until you've crossed the river. And it's stuck with me. It's really stuck with me over the years. And but no, shout out to Billy. But yeah, I mean, look, Stevens is promising. Like we said earlier,
He
we like
is.
more than we don't like. But when he looks like a rookie, it's hard to watch. I'm kind of like doing this when I see him back there in the deep third. I'm peeking through the fingers because,
Mhm.
yeah, I love his fearlessness. I love it, the moxie he brings, the toughness he brings. But he's still young and he makes mistakes.
And it will be interesting. DJ brings up, I was just getting ready to say this. It'll be interesting to see what this does in an ancillary role for our Darius Washington. See if he gets an opportunity to show out a little bit, get some more time on the field. Because certainly, I think it is still fair to say, I've said this since the very beginning, I think Stevens is more athletically gifted, physical, things of that nature. But I think our Darius is probably a more positionally polished safety while not possessing the same physical gifts. So it'll be interesting to see how they rotate between those two, use those guys, etc. So that will definitely be interesting
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, no
But
doubt. But let's get into some more of
yeah,
these stats real quick. Just finish
yeah,
out the offense.
yeah,
I'll start with their side. Receiving, Justin Jefferson, their stud guy, goes 3 catches, 69 yards in the touchdown. Of course, highlighted by the 50-yard bomb on the blown coverage. Tight end Conklin gets 5 for 45. CJ Ham, how about the fullback laying out backwards and catching the 27-yarder that
yeah.
was thought to be a 41-yarder until
He
luckily
looked like a ballerina in the air.
yeah, I mean, a bowling ball turned into a ballerina was certainly impressive there. And then Adam Thielen, quiet day, only 2 for 6, but did have the fade route touchdown on the
Offensive pass interference. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
the kind of controversial push off there, which
Yeah.
I could see go. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of I just feel like the defense is in such an impossible position where they can't do anything wrong, and the offense gets the leeway and the wiggle room. But offensively for the Ravens, Marquise leads the way, 9 catches, 116 yards on 12 targets. Rashad Bateman, 5 for 52 on 8 targets. Kind of a quiet day for Mark Andrews. Does have the big drop in the end zone, but ends up 5 for 44 on 10 targets. And then Pat Ricard, can't forget about him. 3 for 35, a touchdown. Oh, and we haven't even talked about the catch that Devin Duvernay made in the back of
Oh
the
my
end zone.
gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up. It's funny because it's like the Vikings. It made me think of the oh my gosh, Marlon Brown catch. Man, I loved Marlon Brown. We got him 5-star guy out of Georgia and things like that. And anyway, so I was high on him, and I remember that catch. I was like, all right, this is the moment where he breaks out, right, and really shows out.
Yep.
Didn't turn out that way. He had some other moments, but point being, very similar, right? Like,
yeah.
Back of the end zone, kind of had to contort their bodies, bring the ball in. What a catch. Duvernay, gosh dang it, needs the ball more.
Yes.
He needs more football in his life.
Absolutely. Let's see less of Miles Boykin, more of Devin Duvernay. I mean, Devin Duvernay never disappoints me.
Never.
He's probably, if we put him in our backfield, he's our fastest running back, and they just, we keep seeing little kind of snippets of that, but I just want to see more of him in every way. If that means in the backfield, then so be it. I need to see this man with the ball in his hands. He's fast, he's fearless, he's physical, and he's got incredible hands. I mean, that catch, I don't know how many guys on our team are making that catch. I mean, there has to be not just great hands, not just great body awareness, spatial awareness, being that close to the sideline in the back of the end zone, but also the kind of guts that it takes to expose your ribs and reach out with one hand and have the focus knowing you could get lit up at any second. I was super impressed with Devin Duvernay. We need to see a lot more of Devin Duvernay. He needs to have more than 2 targets because he turned both those targets into catches.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the goofy little, the second target was that little, not goofy, but the dump off, right? Where it's technically a completion where Lamar just pats it to him off the snap.
Little shovel pass.
Even that, a simple play like that, there was nothing there. And he got, I think, 4 yards, but there was nothing there.
No.
Right? Like, So absolutely, I want to see this kid get the ball more. All right, Joshua Hunter, what do you got? Do we know why they bothered bringing Boykin back? I know you talked about it a bit earlier, but why is this guy taking a roster spot? You're absolutely right. I mean, Glenn spoke about this, and I think overall we're going to see a restructuring here in the on the offensive, like the roster alignment, because we can't keep living this way, right?
No.
Like we just can't. So it will be really interesting to see how that shakes out and how much longer this guy continues to be employed.
At this point, he's an undersized blocking tight end.
Yeah,
that's what he is. I mean,
he's
an undersized Eric Tomlinson.
Yeah,
and that's just
without
not
the
good
gnarly
enough.
beard, though.
Yeah, exactly. Without the cool beard, but that is not enough to keep you on not just the 53, but he's active. Why is he active? I don't get it. I don't see what he brings. He's not even a good special teamer. At least when I saw on that kick return, it was a piss poor effort.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't
piss poor.
I hope I don't get people mad. I hope that's the language isn't too bad. But I just don't understand it. I do not get it. Let's have our Darius up. Let him play some special teams. I mean, I think next week with the loss of Deshaun Elliott, we'll probably see if everything else goes. Nobody else goes down. We'll probably see Boykin inactive, and we'll see some more safeties up. And I hope so, because I can't stand when I see him out there. I go, oh, if this isn't a run play, I mean, I don't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know what else we can do. I'm glad that somebody found my comment humorous, because it's absolutely the truth. We just can't.
No,
we simply can't.
We can't do it. It's driving us crazy. And Lisa Ann, I agree with her. She says, is Justin Tucker a first ballot Hall of Famer?
If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, then I don't know who is.
Right. Then they should just say kickers aren't allowed in here, because if that'd be the only reason this guy's not a first ballot. I mean, and you know what's funny? I was telling my buddies and my family here, as he's running on the field, everyone's kind of like this. And I'm going, imagine, look, we're like this, and we have the greatest kicker who we all pretty much know is going to make it. Imagine the feeling of all these other fan bases when they have horrible kicking and they see their guy running out for a 48-yarder to win it.
Yeah, it's like, the game's on the line. You're down by 1. We got Steph Curry on the free throw line. They got Shaquille O'Neal.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, hold on now. Shaq was big in big moments.
All right, they got who's the dude that, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
They got Ben Simmons.
Oh, that's the best. Because he's broken mentally, too.
Okay. Oh, sorry, my bad. Josh Allen, 31 for 47, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against the Jags. Will he get the Lamar narrative? Doubt it. No, he won't.
Great comment, Tim.
You're absolutely right, Tim. Absolutely right. He will not get the Lamar Jackson narrative. But look, we know it here.
This guy threw the ball 47 times, Jimbo, and they have 6 points. They have against the worst team in the league.
They're a flawed team. You know what they kind of remind me of? Do you remember the Pittsburgh Steelers last year?
Yeah, oh yeah. When they're 11-0 and nobody bought
team at 11-0, right? Yeah. Like that is a flawed team with a fluffy record, or a fluffy division with a fluffy schedule out in front of them. So,
yeah. I mean, you come into this game the number 1 team scoring offensively and defensively, and you put up 6 points against the Jaguars, who lose Trevor Lawrence in the second or third quarter. I don't know the injury. I just saw he left, and that's pathetic. I mean, that is absolutely shameful. So to all those, and I doubt you're in here still because they were probably Bills fans, and to all those who said, oh, the Bills are they're the favorite to be the number 1 seed. Oh, are they? Oh, are they? Because they just lost to the Jaguars in embarrassing fashion.
Ugh. Yeah, anytime you get beat by Urban Meyer. I mean, he doesn't even go on the team playing at the end of the game. He's not even a committed coach.
No, he's getting lap dances in his own bar.
That's a part-time job for him. He's probably got another job somewhere else, right? Like he's already signing the ink with USC.
Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely embarrassing. Another week in which things kind of fall the way the Ravens need it. I mean, look, the Browns beating the Bengals. By the way,
as it stands right now, are we number 1 in the AFC? Like overall?
Well, the Tennessee has to lose tonight. That would help.
Oh, you're right.
That would help. But they very well could. They certainly could. They're playing the Rams tonight. I mean,
with no Derrick Henry.
And the Rams just got Von Miller. Oh, yeah. And by the way, how the hell did the Denver Broncos trade away Von Miller and then they damn near shut out the Cowboys, who get 2
I don't
late
get it.
trash touchdowns. How did they get so much better when they traded away Von Miller?
Well, Vic Fangio's looking at his ARP card and he's like, gosh
Yeah, I
dang it,
guess
I'm not
so.
ready for this life, guys. We got to do something here, man.
You know what it was? He got into an argument with his wife over the weekend, and he's like, I can't come home and be stuck with this woman all day.
That's right.
I need to
I need
keep
a job.
coaching.
I need a job. We're coaching for my life here.
That's what it was.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Joshua Hunter. Ravens have some bad games, some slow starts, but 6 points against a team with a losing record. AFC's #1 seed is well within reach. Amen. And look, Glenn, we've said this. Lamar Jackson, in one way, shape, or fashion, wins the games he's supposed to win in which we are favored, and he continues to do so. Lamar Jackson still to this date only has 9 losses in the regular season in his entire career. So Lamar Jackson knows how to get it done. The Baltimore Ravens know how to get it done. Let's do this real quick before we get to our winners competition-wise. Let's give out some game balls, Glenn. I'm sure it'd be pretty easy for you think of an offensive and defensive game ball. DK, do the same here and pitch in. I'll start, if that's all right, because I kind of threw this on you last minute.
Yeah.
But absolutely, my offensive game ball is going to none other than number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Brown, while he didn't touch the end zone, he didn't, get to pay dirt.
Mm-hmm.
He was the most important offensive player for us today outside Lamar Jackson. Extremely clutch, dominated his matchups. We said it all at the beginning. He is a bona fide number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Soldier Brown has now earned the nickname Hollywood Brown through and through here in the NFL. My game ball, Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else you would give it to off. I mean, I guess there's some guys. I mean,
You can give it to Lamar always,
I'll
right?
tell you what, I would give mine if I can't give mine to the same guy, I'm gonna give mine to Project Pat because I feel like that drive where he really took over the entire drive and was the reason they scored, kind of energized the offense, gave him a little bit of swag back. He was getting them, he was jacked up, he was running over corners. I got to give him credit where it's due. It's an unlikely source of an offensive boost, not a spot you would initially assume. And then defensively, I mean,
wait, DK, you got yours?
Oh, sorry about that.
Ooh,
okay, Lev Bell. Yeah, it was a solid game, and really, he was the guy at the end of the game, icing it,
closed it.
Yeah, getting us in range at the end there, and had a lot of really tough runs, a lot of runs where he was moving the pile, helping getting pushed by Tyree Phillips on one. So yeah, shout out to him as well. Defensively, I'm going to go Josh Bynes.
I like how you slid into going first defensively there.
Yeah, I took him.
Yeah.
But there's a couple guys you could go after. I mean, look, my breakout player prediction I had was Deshaun Elliott, and he had 2 tackles for loss, 6 solo tackles, second on our team.
Physical, man.
Yeah, super physical. But Josh Bynes, to me, was just, I mean, he was just so impressive. Every tackle is just, I just love it's picture perfect form, and that's what I love about it. He's not trying to blow you up. He's not trying to strip the ball. He's trying to get your butt on the turf, and he did that. He did that very, very well today. So shout out to Josh Bynes.
Yeah, so mine might be a little controversial, but I'm going with Marlon Humphrey. The reason I'm going with Marlon Humphrey is because of the bounce back, not only from the Bengals game, also from the play, and we don't know what the miscommunication was, whether it was Chuck or himself. But I'm going with Marlon because after that play, he shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was really nothing else going on in his backyard after that. He shut it down. He had a few pass deflections after that, and made that big play like you're talking about on Conklin there at the end of the game. So I'm going with double 4 Marlon Humphrey. DK, if you got one of ours, that's totally fine. Oh man, that is a good one. Great point. He was living in the backfield today.
Yeah, he had a big tackle for loss. He also had a nice pass deflection. He hit the quarterback. He was 3rd on our team in tackles. I think
I forgot to shout him out.
Yeah, he definitely had a big game, and you're right. That game was kind of multifaceted. He had a good moment in multiple different areas affecting the game. So yeah, shout out to him. Got to give him credit, and also Anthony Averett. I mean, this is what I like seeing: Anthony Averett, Marlon Humphrey combined for a grand total of 2 tackles.
Yep.
That's what we want to see. Last week, they were the number 1 and number 2 leading tacklers. That's not what you want to see from your corners.
Yep.
So shout out to both those guys for lacking They didn't get a lot of targets. They didn't give up a lot of completions, and that's why they didn't have a lot of tackles. So anytime I see these guys with low tackles, it's probably a good game for them.
Yep. Well, we got to wrap up here, guys. So we want to get to our competition winners, and then just as a note here, we will be doing our preview show. We believe, since it's a short week, tomorrow.
Or, yeah, we're gonna figure it out.
Ugh. Yeah, but stay tuned. We're gonna be on it this week. For all things Ravens. We'll see if OBJ comes here, which obviously I think there's no chance of that. But all right, let's get into our competition winner. Let's do our internal winner. DK, why don't you put up the results if you don't mind?
Yeah, why don't we put those results up, gentlemen?
Yeah, we can put the results up because
yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah, we can. That's
yeah,
no
buddy, because we all know what happened in this. Just as I predicted it, we were on these airwaves just a few short days ago when I told you, Jimmy, and I told you, DK, that I was coming for you, that I was going to get the dub this week.
Yeah.
And look, we come out the over-unders. I get 3 of the 4 correct. Jimmy gets just 2 of the 4 correct. Same with Tony Thornton. And DK, the only reason he tied me is because he copied off me on 2 of them. But let's get down to, since me and DK were then tied after the over-unders, so we got to get into the closest pin challenge, which ultimately decided this week's winner. And who was the champion of the show this week?
It was you. It was you. I think everyone predicted it. Clark is right.
Hold on, everyone. You didn't.
No, sorry. Everyone predicted it based on your current reaction, right? Like they already knew who the winner was going to be. Based on
no surprise. Yes.
Acting, right? But, every once in a while, a dead clock is right. So you did it, Glenn.
Don't try and burst my bubble, Jimbo. I am the champion. I will go to sleep a champion. And look at that. Lisa Ann, thank you for your support, because Lisa Ann was really championing me from the beginning.
She was.
Wanted me to take down the giant. Little David versus Goliath here with me and DK.
Gosh, here we go.
And David pulled out his slingshot and let one go and smacked DK right between the eyes.
It was a sling, Glenn, not a slingshot.
All right, look, Jimmy.
A sling.
Not my area of expertise, but you got the point. The picture was painted. And I got the W.
Dennis the Menace with the slingshot.
That's right. Old school, baby.
Oh, my gosh.
All I know is I got the W.
He got the dub. But most importantly, we got a few folks that have been back-to-back winners in our competition outside of us.
What?
And we got a back-to-back winner. Some of you guys are starting to pull ahead. I'm going to get this name right. Abayomi Ayomide. Won again, straight out of Lagos, Nigeria, whooping all your butts, showing you guys what's up. So, of course, he will get his reward as well. Since he's outside the United States, we will send him an Amazon gift card, which in sentimental value is not equal to the shirt, but is the best we can do at this point. So hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah.
But that's all for us, folks. We're going to be back soon. Great win, short week, so stay tuned. Hit the turn on your notifications, do all the stuff on YouTube.
Let me give a couple shout outs before we go,
Let's
Jimbo.
get to the shout outs.
Yeah, let me give a couple. Don C, always in here. Appreciate you pumping up the likes. Edwin, thanks for the you are the champion. I heard you singing that. When you wrote that comment, I heard you are the champion. All right, so Tom, the audio designer, thanks for coming out. Appreciate the congrats. Billy Seals, Lisa Ann, always riding with Glenn. You know what? She was pulling for me from the beginning to take down the Giants, and now she gets to celebrate with me. Devin H., thank you so much for coming in. Jay Rum, Adam Graff, Billy Seals, I think I already said your name, but you get 2 shout-outs. Brandon Thompson, appreciate you coming out. Nana Rave, as always, love seeing you in here. Charles Bowie, you as well. Tim Ott, thanks for coming out. Who was it that gave us a bunch of the big
Joshua Hunter?
Yeah, Joshua Hunter, appreciate it. The Virgo, something the Virgo. I can't remember the name. Something the Virgo, though. But appreciate you. Michael Blackwell. Narcoleptic said something really cool. How about the fact that the Ravens won despite having 2 more turnovers and the Vikings having a kickoff return for a touchdown?
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you got the wrong number 8 under center.
That's true. That's a good point there. No doubt about it. But absolutely enjoyed it. I get to go relax now. Our game is over. I get to just go enjoy football. But we'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one.